I mean, at this point, we're basically vibe coding, right? I just said go through and check all TSX files for extra divs and optimize the code with Prettier. And it's checking through all the code, editing as it goes, analyzing, finding excess divs, killing the excess divs, making sure it looks good, error boundaries, loading states, proper TypeScript interfaces, form validation, proper data fetching. Sometimes when you add all of this, it breaks it. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's like trying to do too much, but let's try it and see if it breaks it. We can always roll it back, do all these changes. It'll go and do them, put little loading states and stuff in. I guess you can do all of this stuff and the security stuff at the end once you've built all the UI, because sometimes when you put all these things in before you've completed the UI, you run into these issues where it like tries to be too fancy and tries to have loading states when it doesn't need them, and different validations and fetching. Like it's got nothing to fetch the data from other than the routes that are sort of in this. I mean, if you actually know how to code and you're following along, please disregard any ridiculous comments I make because I actually have no idea what I'm doing. Skeleton loading component. I remember working with a design about 3 or 4 years ago to try and design skeleton states for loading component, because I thought as a PM it was best practice and we didn't want spinners. We wanted to show the user what they would visually see when it loaded on the screen. It took us weeks, like maybe even months, to develop the components the way they animated, and I bet this just dumps them in and it probably works out of the box, which I think is kind of hilarious given the amount of time I've spent on this stuff in the past. After it's finished doing this, we will add, I don't even know what we'll add, but if I was to complete the remaining screens that are in this app, which was built with Vite, or Bolt New rather, then migrate them over to Windsurf. It started with VO, so that's why it has that Shad CN vibe to it. Ta-da. That's why it looks like that. So let's go back here. It's going to take forever to do this stuff, so apologies. If I don't talk, I can just skip all this out in the video. Something that would be super helpful, just given what this is doing, would be if you could queue up, like if you could queue the chat. I mean, I know we're living in the future already, but if I could just like write a bunch of chats out about what I wanted it to do and didn't have to be present here for every like little iteration of this, then it could work its way through the queue of requests. Let's just accept all because we're psychos, and let's dump in that error for it to fix, blah, 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 blah. Export default function, client detail page, main token, unexpected token main, whatever. It'll go and fix it. Yes, what I thought was going to happen did happen. Trying to put on the fancy enhancements, it's got this error boundary thing, which keeps throwing the error. So we'll either have to try and find or get it to make this little fix to it, or roll it back so that it's not on there, or just work our way through these, which is also another way of doing it. It's not ideal though. Sometimes it's good just to go through this as well, just to find opportunities for stuff to make, like how can I use different layouts? Most of the time you can just chuck a screenshot in though and it just does what you need it to. So fancy. That's sick. Definitely going to get it to make this. Maybe 2 different views of the same thing. Pie charts would be cool, as well as little cards. I like these, like the diff. We can do that. Fixed it. Has it fixed it? No. Clients has broken everything. Quotes works. Invoices works. Jobs works. Clients breaking. Dashboards a little bit fancy. I also installed Super Whisper this morning. So design me a epic chart to put at the top of each index page that shows the key information for that page and makes it really obvious to the user the metrics for that portion of the business. Take that and dump it in here. I haven't figured out how to get it to like just load in there. That would be handy. This is what I'm saying. Don't try and get too fancy with it. Doing all this stuff is dumb before you've got all the UI up and working. You probably don't even need it in a real application. Like, it's overhead.